football on ESPN. Minnesota, Maryland, PJ Fleck and Mike Locksley lock horns. Tomorrow night it will be Penn State and Ohio State in a huge one. Tonight, two teams that would love to have their first win of the year, especially Maryland, after falling 52-10 to Minnesota in last year's event in the Twin Cities. Minnesota has had special teams issues, and we will watch the kickoffs and the punts all game long as Josh Jacobs puts it on the deck, and a battle for it. It looks like Maryland did come up with it, so that's not exactly the start that a coach who talked about unforced errors all week wanted.
Yeah, and I know Mike Locksley's holding his breath because they started or had 3 interceptions last game and another fumble. So 4 turnovers in that game against Northwestern, provided excellent field position. Really lucky here, Jason, to come back and get the football.
They will have it first down and 10. Taulia Tagovailoa, who was 14 of 25 last week. But you mentioned the opening drive. If you watch that opening drive only, you thought Maryland was going to be a juggernaut against Northwestern. Opening play, Tagovailoa for Jake Funk. And it'll be down after a gain of about 6. So Tagovailoa, the starting quarterback, the brother of Tua, who gets his first start in the NFL coming up on Sunday to test that hip. They played together growing up. Taulia led Thompson High School to the Alabama championship game in 2018. He is from Ewa Beach in Hawaii. He was a freshman in Alabama. It helped his parents get to see both kids in the same place. And now he's transferred now that Tua has left Alabama. But Andre, it was interesting talking to Taulia about their growing up situation because Taulia learned from Tua and Tua's coaches.
Yeah, it was Tua going first, and he was kind of on the receiving end of a lot of Tua passes as Tua was working on his game, sharpening his skills as a passer, and then he just started to emulate Tua, but only from the right side. So it was a good mirror in which to look into.
He will throw here on first down as he goes through the progressions and tucks and runs for a gain of about 1 on a first down carry. What did you like from that first drive at Northwestern last weekend? Yeah,
he was decisive with the football, and mind you, they were scripted plays, but he goes right down the field, knowing exactly where to go with the football. The ball was coming out on time. He looked like the player that was really advertised coming out of high school, and then things kind of quickly went the other direction as he started to force it, trying to go down the field, a couple of tips and interceptions, and then found himself on the end of 3 picks after the game was over.
Into the second level, that's a first down for Ja'Shawn Jones, and he is one of our impact players tonight.
Yeah, he is. If Taulia's going to have any type of success in the passing game, Ja'Shawn Jones along with Dante Demas on the outsides for Maryland, they're going to have to make plays. Benjamin St. Juste on the other side, he'll be trying to stop Demas and Jones on that side of the ball in coverage.
Quick set, fire to the near side. Darryl Jones has himself a first down and another strong opening drive for the Terps.
And this is what you like about Taulia, is he spreads the ball around. Already finding a couple of different receivers in this opening drive. And with that, Jason, his confidence going to grow tremendously as this game progresses.
Andre, they're going 2 backs here. Jacobs and Funk together in the backfield with Tagovailoa. And on a first down throw, decisive again over the middle, and Brian Cobbs.
Well, to your point, last week, Minnesota defensively got a lot of 2-backs, and they didn't really expect it, didn't handle it well. And one thing about college football or any football is that you see something on film that you can take advantage of, or it was a shortcoming defensively for Minnesota. Maryland, Mike Locksley, they've hopped into it. Scotty Montgomery, their offensive coordinator, are going to hop into a lot of different sets, including those 2 backs.
This is a screen he sets up. Ball was deflected right into the hands of the back, and that is Penny Boone, but a flag has come in. That's a kid they like, Penny Boone, out of the state of Michigan.
Holding.
Not much to dislike.
Offense number 65, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Yeah, Penny Boone, 6'1", about 250.
Correction, second down.
Has unique size and quick feet. And he runs through contact, and this Maryland staff just really excited about his potential as a true freshman and really contributing and stepping up as the year progresses.
Penalty sends it back to 2nd down and 20. Just Rakim Jarrett into the backfield, the 5-star recruit. And Tagovailoa is going to run it. Decisive run. Tagovailoa showing the wheels and a first down. He got 20 plus.
That's one I don't know if I would have slid at the end. I might have gone head first because there wasn't a defender in front of him at the end of this run. But I think this is a design quarterback draw. Smart to get down, but I would go the other way where you're basically falling forward and not where you start the slide.
So you lose maybe 2-3 yards on that, right?
A couple of yards, exactly right.
Opening drive for Maryland. Tagovailoa sends it to the far side, and that's a diving grab for Dante Dimas Jr., the electric junior for Maryland.
Yeah, just a hook or a curl on the outside at about 6 to 7 yards, and he is a long body at 6'3", 217, big catch radius. Tell you what, Talia's cooking right now.
Another completion and a first down to Brian Cobbs. 1st and goal for Maryland.
Hey, partner, this looks eerily similar, doesn't it? To last week's start. I mean, almost identical. Spreading the ball around, a couple of runs in there. Guys making plays after the catch, and they just got to finish now. That's what I'm telling my guys at the line of scrimmage or in the huddle. Hey, let's finish this drive, unlike they did last week.
Funk on the run. It's going to be 2nd and goal. You had a chance to talk to Talia before the game during our meetings. What did you sense from him in terms of how ready he was to bounce back?
Just a quiet confidence. Just he's gone back and really studied what he did last week and in terms of trying to push the ball down the field. And he told me that, hey, there were some times when I rewatched the film, I should have just checked the ball down. And that's going to be as good as, certainly better than the incompletions or maybe tips that turned into interceptions in last week's game against Northwestern.
Tagovailoa to Funk, seeking the end zone. A marker's in. It's a touchdown for now, and we will check and see on the flag.
I believe this is a pick because he came out of the backfield awfully clean without a defender in the area, only having to outrace one defender to the end zone. And this may be, I guess, Maryland celebrating maybe against the defense.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The pass was caught behind the line of scrimmage. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So, Andre, they did pay off the drive, and Funk does get the score.
Boy, just wanting to finish a drive. Excellent eyes by the quarterback to pull everybody inside, knowing all along that he's going to Jake Funk on the outside. And it may have been a little bit of a pick scheme where the receivers go down inside, pick the linebackers. You want to force them over the top and not let them undercut that little quick pass from Talia.
You passing game people would never do something that would test the rules, though.
Of course not. Of course not. Oh, you don't set picks.
That's what you all tell the officials. Touchdown, Maryland. They did put in the opening drive. Funk on the catch from Tagovailoa to start your weekend.
To vote on Election Day, November 3rd. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
7-0 Maryland after an 11-play drive of 82 yards. It was over a 5-minute drive last week. They got a field goal, but Mike Loxley told us he really liked what he saw on that first drive last week, and you see the confidence building on that sideline with some energy infused now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They wanted to finish, and finish they did with a Jake Funk touchdown reception. Now they got to figure out how to hold up against this rushing attack of Minnesota.
It is Cam Wiley on the return, and he will pinball to about the 25. the running back, Mohamed Ibrahim, for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You talk about the running game. He went to Good Counsel in Olney, Maryland, Our Lady of Good Counsel, to the north. 33 minutes without traffic, about 3 hours with traffic from College Park. Last week against Michigan, he was the star. 26 carries, 140 yards, and a touchdown. And he's trying to become a 2,000-yard rusher. They've had a bunch of Marion Barber, Lawrence Maroney et al. Minnesota has been a strong rushing team, even though they just had their first 10-win season since 1905. And we'll see if they can push around the Maryland defensive line tonight. Ibrahim is cut down by Chance Campbell, who had 15 tackles last week. That was a buzzsaw.
He is just a burst of energy with this defense. He makes all the calls. Smart, really smart player. So he senses formations, where the ball's going as the offense breaks the huddle, which gives him a tremendous head start.
Quarterback Tanner Morgan has a lot of decisions to make in that backfield. The offensive line, with its massive size, trying to shove the pile forward, and it'll be third down. But Tanner Morgan, the junior, who was so accurate last year, just 6 for 14 last week against pressure. Michigan got to him early and often, Andre.
Yeah, what he does is win. 15-5 as a starter. Highest percentage at Minnesota since 1959 in that category. He just wins ball games.
Third down and 7 for Morgan. He has to climb the pocket, and he's tripped up. It was Frankie Burgess, the freshman from Pahokee, Florida, who got his shoe tops.
And I tell you what, they've passed 2 tests already. Can they finish offensively and on defense? Can they get to the quarterback? Can they stop this powerful running game of Minnesota? And Maryland has answered on both ends.
And now Minnesota, who has severe specialist issues, participation issues, specialist issues, they will use Matthew Stevenson to punt, though they faked a punt from in this area last week. This goes to the 38-yard line, and that's where Maryland will have it. But the Terps and Testudo have dialed up some pressure on Tanner Morgan to a 7-0 lead, and a smile from Scott Van Pelt.
ESPN College Football is presented by Ram, built to serve, and in part by Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
Those lovely faces are the kids of our production crew. Some wonderful people in Bristol, Connecticut doing a tremendous job. And that was when I masqueraded as Bill Walton's Robin to his Batman. And that was when you, what's that? What are you doing with the Heisman there?
Pretending to win a Heisman or something. I don't know. How about that suit, man? Boy, that was a long time ago.
Quint's got a couple of bald eagles in his hair there. They made a nest on his head. What are we doing there, Baltimore Thunder? First down for Tagovailoa, and it's Jake Funk who recovered the fumble on the opening kickoff to set up a 2nd down and 1. Quint, what was that?
That was back when hair was cool, back in the Flock of Seagulls era. I got to tell you, from as you guys mentioned, Maryland off to the good start, like their energy. Coach Loxley told us he loved what he saw at practice. Even though they got destroyed last week by Northwestern, he saw signs, leadership, guys staying positive. He saw positive signs behind the scenes.
He absolutely did, and I would very much run so far away from that picture of you. Quint Tagovailoa ducks out of pressure and loads up a throw down the sideline for Jarrett, and he's got it into Minnesota territory.
Well, I tell you what, this young man is doing a phenomenal job of spreading the football around, making plays. And you know, when you throw for over 14,000 yards in a high school career, it tells me that you know how to read defenses. You have the arm strength to reach most parts of the field, and it's just about getting it done. And tonight, off to a fantastic start.
6 first downs already for Tagovailoa and this offense. That's Cobbs in motion. It's Tagovailoa circling out of the pocket again and sprinting down the sideline. He's got Funk in front of him and a touchdown. He had the presence of mind to play traffic cop at about the 15, and he surged to a score.
And now you see why Mike Locksley was not worried about Talia Tagovailoa. Just cool as a cucumber in the pocket, escapes, and then you see the athletic ability that goes with a dynamic arm. What a start for the Maryland Terps.
Okay, so when we talked to Talia from his home on Zoom, we said, hey, were you watching the game on Sunday with his brother? And he said, sitting right here, as a marker comes in. And then he reached off camera, grabbed his Tagovailoa.
False start. Offense number 71, 5-yard penalty. This is the try for point.
His Tagovailoa jersey was right off camera. His Dolphins jersey for his brother, who he has a wonderful relationship with. They talk every day. But when you sit here and talk to this young man, you stop and you think, boy, we're asking a lot of questions about his brother. And Talia has very much come out here and shown why he was well recruited as well, and he started the family's really exciting 72 hours with an absolute bang.
What a job of starting this game both through the air and now on the ground for Talia Tagovailoa. Maryland up 14-0.
Well, Andre, you said quiet confidence, but he's starting to get loud. Talia Tagovailoa, 6'7", 69 yards, a great throw along the sideline and a run as he escaped the pocket. What are you seeing so far from Tua's brother?
Well, just that, just playing with a quiet calmness that, you know, he knows that he's physically gifted. He's just sometimes got to get out of his own way, and that first start can be tough sometimes. Last week it obviously was against Northwestern, but he's on point tonight.
Ball's on the deck. Wiley put it down there, and Maryland's got it again. What a start for the Maryland Terrapins.
Boy, they are playing and just kind of introducing the physical portion to this football game.
The rolling on the field is a fumble. Recovered by Maryland, first down.
That is one of the things that Mike Locksley talked about in terms of being physical. They had to be the tougher team. They knew Minnesota would come into their building and try to
recovered by the kicking team is under further review
and try to be the bully. I'm just wondering if that ball was moving around before he made contact with the ground.
It was Osita Smith who recovered it and forced it. Matt Austin, our rules expert, joins us on our telecast tonight. We're glad to have you, Matt. What are you seeing on this so far?
Well, Jason, I agree with Andre. The elbow hit the ground. You couldn't see if the ball was moving before then. If it wasn't, obviously the runner's down and there's no fumble. If it was moving, then the ball's loose. The ruling on the field is a fumble, so therefore there has to be indisputable evidence to overturn it, and I'm not sure they've got it.
Get one more look at it there. It
looks like it starts to creep around in his forearm right as contact was made. And just before he makes impact with the ground, that's going to be a tough one. Tough one to overturn the call on the field, which, as Matt alerted us to, was indeed ruled a fumble.
Matt, what do you see on that slow motion version we just saw moments ago?
After review, the runner was down before the ball came loose. It will be Minnesota's ball. First and 10 at the 19-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 6:45. 6:45.
What do you make of that, Matt?
Yeah, from the last view, I think his elbow was down. So I do think it's a good overturn. I think Minnesota should keep the ball. It looked like the ball looked like his hand came away from his body, which is not a loss of control. So if he still had control of the ball when the elbow hit, it's not a fumble.
And they're breathing a sigh of relief on the Minnesota sideline, Matt.
Thanks to Matt Austin. He'll be with us all night for rules questions as Minnesota does keep it, and they will run it on first down. They had success running to the right last weekend, and Ibrahim sets up a second down and short after a gain of 9.
Yeah, ask John Hope, the defensive coordinator for Maryland, what concerns you about this Minnesota offense? He says the big bodies up front, the big offensive line. They're good at inside zone, and they're excellent in play action off that. So look for Minnesota to try to really establish the run and then, couple it with play action.
Interesting thing here is Minnesota had the ball for 42 minutes of last year's game, and this is a laser for Daniel Jackson, the freshman they wanted to get into the mix a lot more this weekend.
And there's the play action, a successful run by Ibrahim, and then they come right back, show it to him, shoot it to the true freshman who the coaches are really, really excited about.
We asked Mike Sanford, the offensive coordinator, we said, who do you want to get in more? And before I finished the question, he said Daniel Jackson. Tanner Morgan. Down the middle, he's got a first down and then some. It is Bateman on his first catch, and he was so good at 20-plus catches last year. This is for 28.
Yeah, he just has a knack for finding soft spots in zone coverage. See the drops, and then the soft spot there, and he knows nobody out in front. I'm going to continue on and allow Tanner Morgan to lead me away from harm. And they hook up and do an excellent job of it on that play.
As Quint documented, for about a month and a half, they didn't think they'd have Bateman if there was a season. He had opted out but decided to come back because he wanted to send a positive message to the country. And he's got a first down, which sets up this from Ibrahim inside the 15.
Yeah, this is more of what we expected from Minnesota offensively. Now you've got an offensive line. You got some couple of bodies playing out of position. And what better way to get them firmly entrenched in a game is to just let them fire off and run block. That's what those big grunts up front want to do anyway.
That was Connor Olson with a great block on that run. You saw John Michael Schmitz, the center, who Olson is next to, just mammoth wall-like bodies all over that offensive line. And Ibrahim squeezes through inside the 10 after a gain of 5 on first down.
Yeah, Mike Sanford, he described him as a very strong runner who's hard to tackle. He runs with a low center of gravity, so it's tough to get down around the legs of Ibrahim. And running behind that big offensive line, it's hard to get to him before he gets momentum into the line of scrimmage.
That guy had one negative rushing carry all of last year to put his positive energy forward with those legs into context. Second down, Ibrahim again, and you see it there. I mean, he drives to the line.
Even with contact, even when they may get to him about a yard behind the line of scrimmage, he's still able to run through arm tackles. And Maryland, their answer now, John Hoke's answer, is to bring extra bodies to the party. So you're starting to see a lot more red jerseys creep closer to the line of scrimmage in an effort to help in stopping Mohamed Ibrahim.
They're going with the Wildcat quarterback, the big former receiver Seth Green, with Ibrahim next to him. And it's Ibrahim to set up a first down and goal for Minnesota.
Well, I just think when you're rolling, you stay with what's gotten you rolling. Down 14-0. They check in. I know they have a package for Seth Green, but when you're down like this and you already have some momentum, why stall it out when a guy that's not used to taking snaps comes in and he's all of a sudden in doing just that very thing. A lot could happen.
Ibrahim, touchdown.
Well, they just push everything down inside and expecting him to go inside. Maryland pinches that way, and it allows for outside runs, something that they had a problem with last week against Northwestern, giving up perimeter runs out on the edges.
Rock Walker for the extra point for Minnesota, and for the Gophers, they get to keep the football after the near turnover, which could have been an absolute disaster, and it's a 7-point game. A Sunday NFL countdown. Tom Brady and Randy Moss go one-on-one in a sit-down conversation, and then before Tua's debut, some of the game's greatest left-handed quarterbacks will join us. Sunday NFL countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Then Monday Night Football. If you're a Gophers fan, you're definitely going to watch. Maybe not for Tom Brady. Winfield and Johnson and the Buccaneers against the Giants. Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at MetLife Stadium on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app as well. And we mentioned Taulia Tagovailoa setting up Maryland to this 14-0, now 14-7 lead. Mike Locksley is very familiar with the Tagovailoas. There's a picture with Mike and the entire family. And Mike Locksley, though he describes himself as a previous failed head coach, is a wonderful recruiter, a very personable guy, and has a deep connection with this family.
Yeah, he has got a resume of players that he can roll out, and you recognize a lot of those names. He's been in a lot of living rooms, and he has closed a lot of deals.
Kick goes back to the 5-yard line. Jacobs put it on the ground earlier. He keeps control this time, and Maryland will have the ball with 2:36 to go in the first in his second game of the Big Ten season. And you mentioned it, Mike Locksley as a recruiter. He got Rakim Jarrett, who's a 5-star guy. But you look at what he did at Illinois, a team that he compared this Maryland team to multiple times in our conversation, Andre.
Yeah, Juice Williams, I'd throw his name on there as well, who led him to a Rose Bowl. Bavonte Davis, an outstanding player in his own right. Stephon Diggs. I mean, he has just a long list of guys that he's brought in and had a lot of success with.
He's a Towson guy, and this is over the middle, and Jay Sean Jones is absolutely gone. 76 yards.
What a throw by Taulia Tagovailoa. I mean, off the play fake and just right into the hands of Jones in stride, where he doesn't miss a beat on his way to the end zone. Talking about a hot quarterback. If his brother has this kind of start on Sunday, look out.
Andre, his brother, he's going to have to do a whole lot to top him, frankly.
Just the start. He's got about a game's full of stats already here in the first quarter, pretty much. Certainly topping last week's performance.
Well, look, he had the plan, and now we take you from plan to play. It's brought to you by Northwestern Mutual, and this looks nothing like Northwestern last week.
Yeah, spreading the ball around outside. Yeah, he's using his legs to make plays and keeping the defense honest, where they can't just drop into coverage without giving up some stuff on the ground. I just like the movement of the ball, Jason, where he's just a bunch of different receivers catching passes. 5 different players in the first quarter have caught a pass from Taulia. And then this last one, just magical, right on the money.
So, Andre, let's educate everybody on what Taulia told us about how he learned how to throw a football. He would go to Tua's lessons. Tua would be throwing the football with a coach, with their dad, and Taulia would catch the football. He'd be the wide receiver, but he would listen to the coaching. And after he would catch the ball, he would try to apply what everyone was telling Tua. So he'd throw the ball like they were coaching Tua to do. So he really got his own private lessons, but as the wide receiver for Tua.
And he snuck that comment in that, you know, I can do this as good as well as Tua can. So
that's right.
That's
exactly right.
And lo and behold, he kind of charted his own path to the tune of, as I mentioned a couple of times already, 14,000 passing yards in high school with 135 touchdown passes. Amazing.
Flag comes in on the kickoff, but let's do a little comparison shopping. Now that Taulia is doing what he's doing here, 5'11" versus 6'1", what stands out to you, Andre?
Well, it's that third column where, or fourth one to the passing yards. You look at the touchdown passes as well, just where they were ranked. Not sure how he was ranked 5th, but you talk about some talent in that household. Bunch of passing yards between the two of them.
21 points in the first 12 and change for Taulia Tagovailoa and the Maryland Terrapins in their second game of the year after 3 points all last week. Ibrahim with the dedication to the run game for PJ Fleck. He loves the run game. He loves bleeding clock, and down 14 doesn't matter.
Yeah, and last week, this is exactly what hurt Maryland's defense. The edge runs, being crashed down inside and giving up the perimeter.
Tanner Morgan, a long look at the sideline. Again, he's with his second offensive coordinator, Mike Sanford Jr., taking over for Kurt Shiraka, and this is incomplete on a slant for Chris Ottman-Bell.
Bennett in coverage. You see last week the rushing yards by direction. Look at the outside. 5.9 to the left. And to the right, that's to last year. But last week, I mean, they had tremendous success against, Northwestern had tremendous success against Maryland in those very directions.
And Minnesota's a very much right-handed rushing team, as we see there. And Trayson Potts, the redshirt freshman, it'll be third down and long for Minnesota, which they really like to stay out of, if at all possible. I don't know that Minnesota fans, Andre, are going to like our tomorrow night Saturday prime game because their offensive coordinator jumped ship to Sean Clifford and Penn State. That's a huge one in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it really is. They were rolling last week. Ohio State with Justin Fields like he didn't miss a beat from 2019. Third and 8, big third down here to get off the field if you're Maryland.
Morgan climbing, and Tanner Morgan's got a first down and then some off the slide. He took a little bit of a shot, and they'll get it to the 35 on a run of 16.
Well, when you play zone defense and you drop so deep, it's just going to give a talented runner like Tanner Morgan. See the zone drops there. The middle of the field just opens itself up, and before you get to him, he's probably he's well beyond the first down marker.
They're going to change the play. Ibrahim switches sides.
Run the different to the left here.
He makes a choice to hand it to Ibrahim, and Campbell once again gets in there on the stop. The guy who had 15 tackles last week.
One thing that surprised me early is at the point of attack, Maryland's been able to hold up. I mean, we know how big this Minnesota offensive line is. I mean, they are huge up front. But they've been able to hold up inside. It's just, as I mentioned, the edges. And there goes PJ.
PJ's not big on being stationary. We'll tell you why later on in the telecast. For now, Maryland's got a 14-point lead and a great bounce back so far for the Terps. College football presented by Ram Trucks, and you just watched Maryland score its most points in the first quarter since November 21st, 2015 in a Big Ten game, that is, and they're up 21-7, a team that has lost a lot of Big Ten games in a row, 8 straight by an average of 32 or so, but they're up 14 to start the night at home in front of families in College Park as Ibrahim trucks to set up a third down and short for Minnesota.
He is a tough runner. You mentioned the Some running backs that have played at Minnesota in the past. Maroney, boy, you pulled that one. You went way back with that one, and Barber along with him. It's a long history of successful running backs at this school.
I grew up in the Midwest. I go back to the Assad Abdul Khalik, Lawrence Maroney days from Minnesota. The Metrodome, man. One of your favorite places to play, I know.
I love the city, Minnesota.
Great city. 3rd down and 2. They will run it, and let's see. Ibrahim shoved back by McCullough, and he's very close to the line to gain. It looks like a 1st down coming.
Just enough, and I would imagine that with their kicking woes, that being, even if it were short, that PJ Fleck wouldn't hesitate to go for it.
Injured player is Ahmad McCullough. There you see the mark. Very difficult to overturn that call, you'd imagine. Matt Austin, our rules official, our expert on our Zoom call, is nodding feverishly. So I believe he agrees with me, which is a good sign always. He's nodding again, so I'm sure of it now. Ibrahim wrapped up, hit immediately by Deshaun Holt. Quint downstairs. We had Minnesota a couple times last year. Do you remember Tanner Morgan looking to the sideline as much as he is tonight?
Is it also an injury timeout?
No, I think their cadence is a little different. It's a hardcore look over where he's looking to change the play or not change the play. And it has them operating at a little slower tempo than they did a year ago.
Frankie Burgess, the injured party. We'll check on him when we come back. Always running stuff that make me hungry or thirsty on Friday nights. 21-7. Burgess walked off under his own power. That's a good sign as Minnesota trails Maryland, and the Gophers have run 19 plays. 16 have been runs, according to intrepid statistician Ed Svita. Second down for Tanner Morgan. And a short set, and Bateman's got the catch right around the line to gain.
Yeah, they were just creeping up guys into the box 7, and he knew he had one-on-one coverage on the outside, recognized the corner blitz as well, bringing an 8th guy to the party off the edge, and that left Bateman singled up with a safety trying to rotate over the top. Easy throw and catch by Tanner Morgan to Rashad Bateman.
That safety was Jordan Mosley, who had an offer from Minnesota and ended up at Maryland, staying closer to home from the state of Pennsylvania. This is a huge gash up the middle and a 1st down and goal for Ibrahim.
Just chipping away at the edges, and you start to spread a defense out, and then all of a sudden here comes Ibrahim right between the tackles. Straight downhill, and it wasn't until he got to the 3rd level of the defense that he was even touched. I'd go right back to him, put the ball right back between the 2 and the 4 right here. Don't get cute. Ride with the horse that got you down here.
Local product, Ibrahim from Baltimore. They do go with him, and he scores. 2nd touchdown for Ibrahim.
Well, we are in store for some fantastic football. Just back and forth. Teams getting in the end zone. It's like watching a tennis match. Who's going to break serve, Jay?
Yeah, it's like a tennis match, but with no lobs. I mean, it's all smashes back and forth here. Smash mouth from Minnesota, and then aces from Maryland on 76-yard touchdown passes. 21-14, and Andre, you get the feeling 21's not going to win it tonight in College Park.
Somebody give me something, something
want top 5 college football, you know where to go. Late night, Saturday night primetime. Ohio State and Penn State, a huge one in the Big Ten. Alabama, number 2 in the country. Notre Dame on the road at Georgia Tech. Number 1, Clemson is playing without Trevor Lawrence. A tweet came out earlier this week. He has tested positive for COVID-19, relatively mild symptoms. He hates that he can't be there, but he will not be able to play. And DJ Uiagalelei will be there at quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, you'd imagine, as they take on Boston College. And that is a huge change in direction for Clemson, obviously, Andre. But this college football season is full of surprises based on the pandemic. It's the world we live in.
Yeah, it really is. And unfortunately, we have to watch one of college football's more talented players sit this one out. By ACC rules, at least 10 days.
And that is where there's not a uniform policy in college football. And college football, frankly, could use a governing body. In the Big 12, there's no released medical protocols. The Big 10 is 21 days, the SEC 14 days. What do you make of this that we're watching here?
They've got to find a more uniform way of doing this. When you obviously, you see they're testing positive in the Big Ten will cost you 21 days as opposed to just merely half the time in the ACC. So they've got to do a better job with how this is handled.
And again, administrators are under a lot of pressure. In the Pac-12, it varies by state, as Funk's got another carry for big yards across the 40 and a first down for the Maryland Terrapins. Essentially
a brand new defense for Joseph Rossi, their the defensive coordinator at Minnesota. There's 7 starters from that 2019 team. 4 were draft picks to the NFL from a defense that was ranked 3rd in the Big Ten.
Funk on the swing pass, second down coming up. Quinn, what do you have on what we just saw in terms of the variation across the country?
Well, that is what it is, and obviously, as you guys said, there's no national rules. The Power 5 conferences have to come together and get a policy together. The other thing I worry about COVID going forward is this weekend, Halloween weekend. It's always a challenge. I was in college, so were you, Jason. Halloween weekend's crazy. We'll see how we do for next week. And then down the road, I worry about teams who are 0-6 or 0-7. I don't worry about Alabama. I don't worry about Clemson. I worry about those who are out of the race. And how's this going to look later on in November?
Yeah, that was sort of the worry in Major League Baseball as we watched that season develop, that teams that were down in the standings might opt out or get a little bit loose. Good news is we didn't see that with baseball, the other non-bubble sport that's done this, but we'll see how it plays out over the course of the season. But I agree with both of you that a governing body would be a grand idea to have some uniformity, as this is pushed back by Benjamin St. Juste on Darrell Jones to keep away Maryland from the first down. You going for this, Andre?
Yeah, I would go for it if I'm Mike Locksley. Spread them out. Don't bring the big bodies to the party and give it to Jake Funk. Let him do his thing. He's found some nice creases in this Minnesota front 7.
Let's see. They are going to kick it looks like. Well, no, he's going to. Let's see. They saw Lejean check in, the second quarterback. They're going to go with their voodoo package with both quarterbacks in at the same time. And a whistle on the snap.
Before the ball was snapped. Timeout, Maryland. This is their first of the half. This is a full media timeout.
How about that? Maryland goes into the bag of tricks, then freezes it with a timeout. 4th and 1 on the other side.
Two semifinals. New Year's Day. The college football playoff lives on ESPN.
Things are getting late early for the college football playoff. It's 4th down and 1 for Maryland, up 21-14 just across midfield. What did you think about taking the ball out of Tagovailoa's hands before the timeout, Andre?
I would stay more conventional, which was the spread Minnesota out and then hand it off to Jake Funk underneath. Looks like they've had maybe a change of heart here.
And it is Tagovailoa out of the shotgun with Funk next to him. Off the motion, they run it with Tagovailoa and a first down for Maryland. Quint, what did you say to us during the break about that play?
The ability, well, I thought that was a 14-point swing type play. If they fail, Minnesota will go down and score. And really, whoever's had the ball in this game has had tremendous success. What's most shocking, Jason, from field side is this Minnesota defense and how bad they've looked.
Tagovailoa against that defense. Tries to hit it downfield, and some contact leads to a marker. Jarrett was the intended target, and we'll check the flag.
Another youngster that Mike Loxley and Scotty Montgomery, the offensive coordinator, really, really like.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 65, 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
All right, Andre, when one of your offensive linemen is illegally downfield, your first thought as a quarterback is what?
Well, I tell him, hey, you know, what are you doing? You know, we're throwing the ball. That's how we make a living. You can't release unless we're throwing a screen. So just hold your water, big guy. You got to love him up a little bit as you kind of get on him as well.
I love the smile on your face when I ask that. Like you don't even want to hear about it now when you're done playing. Fake the screen the other way, and this is tipped, and it's intercepted. Carter's got the pick for Minnesota. And a big guy across the 30-yard line, D'Angelo Carter. Somewhere Mike Golick Jr. smiling, and Minnesota's P.J. Fleck is too.
Well, just read it perfectly and got in the line of vision of Taulia Tagovailoa. A tip. I think it was Boye Mafe, the defensive end, who read it perfectly, got in the line of vision, put a big paw up, and it ends up being picked off by D'Angelo Carter, who is probably all out of breath right now. That's the longest he's run in quite some time.
That's a hug on the sideline, but it might be to prop him up too.
All 300-plus pounds of the redshirt freshman.
Gotta love it. Inside the 30 now for Minnesota, and we saw the patience of P.J. Fleck with the run game and Mike Sanford, and now they're within one score as Tanner Morgan wants to go for a deep ball, and he does. Ottman Bell at the goal line, and he brought it in down at the 1-yard line. First and goal, Minnesota.
Well, what a nice job of going up the double move to take advantage of the sudden change. You get a turnover, you're going to strike quickly. They go double move to Chris Ottman-Bell. And what a great catch. Concentration, fighting at the end of it to bring it down. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jason, and say Ibrahim's going to carry the football here.
I don't disagree with you, but I think Ottman-Bell might have been in the end zone there. They may stop play here and see if this is a touchdown, as it looked like he might have been on Tarheeb Still's back.
Timeout, Minnesota. This is their first of the half.
Timeout, Minnesota, with 9 and change to go in the second quarter. It's a 28-yard gain for now. But watch again to see where Ottman-Bell's knee is, and if the knee is down or he rolls into the end zone. Oh, the elbow's down. And the question is, where is the ball at that point with the elbow down? Matt Austin, our rules expert, is with us. Matt, where do you think the ball is when the elbow's down here?
I think from that last view that his elbow hit the ground about a foot in the field of play. He had the ball down by his waist. I think it's short, but I'm not sure. You got to be able to see the elbow and the ball at the same time to overturn it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you here, Matt. I think it's just going to be shy of the goal line. And where was Antoine Richardson trying to locate the ball to safety? I mean, you've got to help out the corner and break on the football. He goes behind the receiver as well as Tarheeb Steele, but it looks like the ball is in his midsection or around his midsection, which is well shy of the goal line.
Yeah, Matt, great call by you. There's the freeze with it, and as you said, you'd have to see the ball go over the goal line in order to reverse this. And we can't even see the ball in that scenario with the elbow down.
Right, so I think the call's going to stand.
We hear indisputable video evidence a lot, Matt. Can you give us some clarity just for folks at home? We start with the ruling on the field, but what is indisputable video evidence that the replay booth is looking for? And I know it's a vague term for a reason.
Well, you're right. You always assume that the ruling on the field is correct, and you have to find evidence that it's incorrect.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch, and the runner was down short of the goal line. It'll be 1st and goal, Minnesota. Minnesota is charged their first timeout and is also charged their challenge.
Yeah, so you have to, if there's two factors involved, did the ball cross, was his knee or elbow down first, you have to have visual evidence of both.
And we didn't have the ball there crossing, certainly. So as you heard, the ruling was confirmed through replay, which is stronger than stand. So it's 1st and goal, and back to Andre, your point, Ibrahim here, right?
Yes, no doubt about it. I mean, don't mess around. You got a chance to tie this game up. Go right to Ibrahim.
DJ Fleck weekly has a meeting with him called Mo Mondays. This has become Mo Friday. He's got 2 touchdowns already, Ibrahim does.
Oh, that right side of the offensive line looks so inviting.
They empty the right side out. He's up the middle. Ibrahim driving the legs. Did he get in is the question. And he's down just short.
He just really stood him up right at the line of scrimmage. And I can't find the ball in there, so I don't know if it's enough to even stop it to take a look.
Matt, quick thought on that?
Well, the head linesman had the best view on the field, so.
They will let it play. Seth Green is in at quarterback. And it's Green looking for the goal line, and he is snuffed out again. Gauthier was in there for the 2nd straight play. Banaje Gauthier out of North Fort Myers makes it 3rd and goal.
Yeah, along with Deshaun Holt, they get the leverage necessary. They get penetration at the right moment and a surge to stop Seth Green just shy of the goal line. And that's been a surprise tonight that Minnesota has been unable to move Maryland off the football.
Green got knocked around on that play, so the Wildcat package gets scrapped here. Green to snap it for Tanner Morgan. Again motion. Again Ibrahim, touchdown for the 3rd time.
And they found the right side, which looked inviting on 1st down. It just took them a little while to get there. But that's where they buttered their bread throughout the first half of this game with Ibrahim.
DJ Fleck told us last year that he learned how to bleed the clock from Jim Tressel. He says he wants to use the clock like a boa constrictor and just sort of close the walls in on the opposition. And Minnesota has held the ball for quite some time in this 2nd quarter and come back from 14 down. And here's how it went down. Big guy running, Andre. You gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Big fella with an interception and starts his track to the end zone, and then all of a sudden they get a nice pass to get him down about a foot from the goal line, and Ibrahim again trotting into the end zone.
More like the Rodney Smith, Shannon Brooks Outback Bowl winners we saw last year. The Minnesota Golden Gophers' last 3 drives. You said it this morning, Andre. You can want the deep ball all you want from Minnesota tonight, but they're going to punch you in the mouth.
They are going to establish the line of scrimmage and the run game, and it's exactly what they've been able to do their last 3 drives.
DeJuan Ellis, the speedster, from outside the 10 on the return, and he's not going to get his way to the 25. Hey, this is a great Big Ten game, but we got some more coming for you. It is Ohio State and Penn State on Halloween. Sean Clifford against Justin Fields. A couple of high-powered offenses. Penn State trying to bounce back in a great game against Indiana, but a loss. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. How do you think this thing goes tomorrow, Andre?
Well, I got to like Ohio State. I mean, the weapons, Justin Fields, the star power is there, and he is playing, it seems, with a chip on his shoulder. So I would have to go with the Buckeyes there.
Tagovailoa with a quick hitter for Dante Demas, and he's down to the 39-yard line. We'll go downstairs to Quint.
When you guys talk about Ohio State at Penn State, you know, Urban Meyer would tell me for years that he always felt that was the toughest venue for the Buckeyes, whether it's the grass field or their great student section. The noise this year, that's kind of a wash, and that doesn't exist. So I'm leaning towards Ohio State.
It'll be interesting to see that game. I saw Chris Fowler tweet about it the other day, how much he's going to miss that atmosphere as Funk goes ricocheting for another first down. So Jake Funk has had a wonderful game, scoring early, and it's a first down, Maryland.
Well, I like the first down call by Scotty Montgomery to put the ball back into Leah's hands on a quick pass, rebuild his confidence after the interception.
All right, so how hard is that for a young quarterback after a pick to get right back to where you were?
Well, you're disappointed because, hey, should I put a little more loft on it? Could I have thrown it around the defender? Should I just thrown it at the feet of the intended receiver, Jake Funk? And you go through that process, and then it's like, hey, I got to wash that play out. He's had more than enough time, and it seems as though he has put it behind him, unlike last week where I think it just lingered for a while.
Tagovailoa out of the pocket to the sideline, and he has Rakim Jarrett, the DC Player of the Year last year, to set up 3rd and short.
Well, is he dangerous when he gets out of the pocket or what? And he's accurate with a football to the sideline where only his receiver, Jarrett's going to catch it, or no one is. 4-star recruit that has just really, really won this staff over.
Somehow only Maryland's second 3rd down of the night. Tagovailoa looking for the line to gain, and he's going to be well short, chased out by Mariano Sori-Marin. 4th and short again, Andre. What's your choice?
Yeah, I would come back with the same look offensively. I think if he'd have given it inside, the back was going to pick up the first down with ease. So I may come back with that same look if I'm Loxley here, and it's like he may elect to do otherwise.
Yeah, that was Lejean on the carry, and so it'll be 4th down and short, and they're going to go ahead and punt. Pecorella to boot it away, and Minnesota will have it at the 9 with Philip Howard on the fair catch. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate.
We're asking a lot of this defense that's been on the field for a long time. You mentioned it. Time of possession certainly favoring Minnesota. It's about 13 minutes to 11. But they've played a lot of snaps on defense, and Minnesota is more than capable with 5:08 left here in the first half of driving the length of the field. I might have gone for it there if I was Mike Loxley.
And frankly, Andre, Maryland might not see the ball again, considering what Minnesota does.
Exact, great point.
He will run left on first down. It's Ibrahim bursting through near the 40-yard line.
3 straight drives you've been unable to stop Minnesota's offense in this ground attack. So you're asking a lot of your defense when you have, you know, we're talking about keeping serve and things of that sort, an opportunity to do it on 4th and 2. I might have kept the offense on the field there.
And now Mo Ibrahim over 2,000 yards in his rushing career for Minnesota with a lot of time left in the Twin Cities. This is Trayson Potts skidding to the outside. Potts across the 40. Bateman up there blocking and still in the fray at the 30.
Redshirt freshman really flashed last week in their game against Michigan. And he is a solid receiver out of the backfield. They like him in that role as well. Going to play a lot of significant minutes this year.
Flag down on the play. We'll check the marker as Gote had yet another
This
tackle.
is Minnesota's first official sideline warning. Sideline warning, Minnesota. It'll be 1st and 10.
Matt Austin, where does sideline warning rank in terms of calls you like to make as an official?
Well, they have their place if the team is not staying in the team box, and anytime there's a play to the sideline, if they're crowding the action, you don't want anybody from the bench to get involved with the player. So it has its place.
So it's really a safety concern, and that's the reason for the marker there. Thank you, Matt. Tanner Morgan, quick hit, incomplete. Jackson wants a flag, and here it comes.
And he's going to get a late one. Jason, you're sitting here looking, 163 yards on the ground here in the first half from Minnesota. 3 touchdown runs, and they're averaging over 7 yards a carry.
Defense number 12. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Talking about establishing the run game early, they have done that, and you see the pass interference on the back end there by the freshman Tarheeb Still. Just arrived a little bit early working against Daniel Jackson.
His defensive coordinator, John Hoke, loves Tarheeb Still. He called him out in our meeting, said he's very instinctive, guy who knows football very well at an early age.
Confident player, is not going to back down from anybody. And the moment is not too big for the true freshman.
He was just on the wrong side of the formation, changed positions, very close to the snap, and Ibrahim turning his back to set up a 2nd down and 4.
Well, you see him on film, and it's just, he's so hard to bring down. He runs extremely tough each and every carry, and he just wears a defense down, really starts to frustrate you as the night goes on.
Out of Our Lady of Good Counsel, north of here, he met former Terps wide receiver Stephon Diggs at an alumni day. They went to the same school. Maryland's turned out some great wide receivers recently, Diggs and DJ Moore, as here's Ibrahim again with some thunder to set up a 1st and goal from the 1, and maybe he'll play make it, take it here.
There's nothing cute about what they're doing. I mean, they gave Trayson Potts 1 carry. He was able to explode and create a big play, but it's been mostly Ibrahim on this drive, and I would look for Minnesota to give it to him one more time to get himself in the end zone here.
Ibrahim got a 4th one. This went from will Maryland blow out Minnesota to will Mo Ibrahim set a college football record for rushing touchdowns?
Well, you got to take your hat off to P.J. Fleck and Mike Sanford, the offensive coordinator and head coach, because they stuck to their game plan. They got down 14 points early. They didn't panic. They didn't abandon what they do. They stayed true to who they are. And it's been 4 possessions in a row with Ibrahim in the end zone.
Mo from Minnesota. 28-21. The Minnesota Golden Gophers, who love to keep the ball. They love to milk the clock. They had the ball for nearly 43 minutes in this game last year, 42-53. How about this night, Andre Ware? Who does this look like to you? Anybody in your mind as you watch him run?
I don't know. He kind of got his own style. Great body, lean. He's got enough quickness and speed to explode, and all of a sudden he's on the second, third level of the defense. Love the way he runs in short yardage situations. The body lean again to get himself and propel himself into the end zone. It is tough to bring down that young man.
Mentioned the weekly meeting that he and PJ Fleck have. Typically, it's not about football. It's about religion. It's about education. It's about something they've read, but they like to keep tabs on each other and where their minds are going. Both very curious people. And Ibrahim, who's become a big-time leader in this Minnesota program, has every reason to smile like he is with a 28-21 lead. That's all been him.
Maybe Elliott, Ezekiel Elliott. You ask me a style, kind of reminds me a little bit of that with the body lean and the gear.
Ellis on the return. Ellis to the outside, but not to the 30. And Matt Berry in the studio has this.
Yeah, gentlemen, some entertainment tonight. What's led to the comeback from Minnesota? We've got tape to show you what. Plus, Chris Fowler going to join us live from State College ahead of Penn State, Ohio State. And Jesse Palmer and Joey Galloway are back with their virtual locks. Benetti, I'll tell you this. Bounce back week for the boys after last week, similar to how we've seen that in Minnesota in the first half.
Well, you didn't mention anything about being wrong about Syracuse and Clemson. The Orange kept it so close, Matt. I just thought there might be an apology in your first update over the course of our game. First down for Maryland, trailing by 7. And they will run with Funk slicing back inside, and a first down for Jake Funk. And we take a look at what Maryland's done after that early start.
Just the interception on the tip, and then obviously the punt on the last series, but they need to find their way into the end zone here with about 2:20 left here in the first half just to get this thing tied up before going to the locker room.
Tagovailoa on the run, out of the pocket where he's been very dangerous, and he hits Dante Demas. My goodness.
Boy, they have some big-time weapons. The two of them, Jones and now Demas, were our impact players coming into this game for Maryland, and both guys have had their moments throughout the first half of this game. And right down the field, here comes Maryland.
Quick set, quick throw. Demas one more time, and he's about a yard short of the line to gain with Terrell Smith draped on him.
He has all the tools to be a great player. Size, speed, catch radius, all of it.
To the outside again with a marker down. It's Demas one more time, and we'll see if the first down stands for Dante Demas Jr.
Ineligible player downfield on the pass. Offense number 5. He was covered up on the end of the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeats second down.
All right, all kidding aside, whose fault is ineligible man downfield quarterback?
That's just on the receiver. You got to properly align yourself. They go through sets and align every single day in practice, play after play. You just got to know where to line up. You cannot have a play like that happen and then have it wiped out.
A lot of targets for Dante Demas Jr. on this drive as Minnesota rushes 4. Tagovailoa escapes, gets a block downfield, and a big one from Jayshon Jones, and a marker comes in at the end of the play.
Yeah, and it's the peel back block, and Jones didn't help his case any because he stood over him, you know, like he just scored or something. You gotta turn your body, whatever it is, to shield
Personal
that block.
foul. Illegal blindside block.
Yeah.
Offense number 6. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeats second down.
And then, Jason, you certainly can't stand over him and admire your work.
watch it again. Matt, what do you think of this? Matt Austin, our rules expert.
Well, this is definitely a safety factor. And if you just screen the offensive player or the defender or just touch him, it's going to achieve the same goal.
So a blindside block leads to the flag against Jaysean Jones. Tagovailoa again throws it to the outside, and it's dropped by Darryl Jones. So 3rd down and 15, and Mike Locksley told us, Andre, he wants unforced errors on less than 12% of their plays from scrimmage.
Yeah.
They've piled up on this late drive in the first half.
He's got a formula for it based on the amount of plays that they run, and they're trying to function at about 88%. But here, a once promising drive seems to be going the other way.
Now you could argue going for about 7 or 8 yards here and then playing it for 4th down. See what the call is. They will run it, and they'll do it with Funk, who is into a ball across the 35, and that's exactly what they do. So it'll be 4th down and about 9, and you got to go for this, right?
Yeah, they get about 6 of it, and I think Funk stumbles, or he may have gotten a little bit more, but he may take a timeout here and talk the play call over a little bit with Scotty Montgomery.
Andre, they're letting the clock run here, and I don't know why you do that. I mean, you've got the ball, and you're basically waving the white flag on this final drive.
You know my theory, big guy. You can't score enough points in the first half of a football game. It's just not possible, and you need the time.
Timeout.
I would have taken it much earlier, get the play call if they indeed go for it here, get the play call sorted out, and then trap my offensive unit right back on the field.
Looks like they're going to kick the field goal from 50 yards. We'll find out after the timeout. Our next UFC Fight Night back in Las Vegas on Halloween. Former middleweight champ and UFC legend Anderson Silva against the 9th-ranked contender Uriah Hall in the 5-round main event. Prelims start tomorrow, 4 Eastern time. Main card, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN Plus in English and Spanish. To get ESPN Plus, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. I know you're going to be watching. You love UFC.
You know it. You know it.
They're going to kick the field goal here. What's that?
Late night scrap. You know what I'm saying?
You like a daytime scrap, I think, too.
Yeah, I'll watch UFC, boxing, you name it. I'm watching.
It's going to be 51 yards for Joseph Petrino with 20 seconds to go in the first half. And Petrino sends it on its way, and it is wide. No good. Minnesota will get it back with 15 seconds. And Locksley and Maryland decided not to go for it on 4th down and 9 in a game where they're down 7.
Well, you lead me with 15 seconds and 2 timeouts. I'm trying to get a field goal out of this with the ball somewhere around about the 40-yard line or so. So a big play, and you chew up some clock. Cut a quick timeout by P.J. Fleck. Trying to squeeze out just at minimum 3 points, but he's going to protect his team and go ahead and go into the locker room.
Bet you it's a different story if Minnesota doesn't get the ball after halftime, but they do, and they are up 7 after trailing 21-7. Taulia Tagovailoa had 257 total yards and 3 touchdowns. Mo Ibrahim has a 4-touchdown first half. What will happen after this? We'll have more from College Park. For now, Matt Berry in the halftime report. Matt?
You know what I learned about Jason Benetti? Moral victories at Syracuse, covering the spread type thing. Jesse Palmer, Joey.
You're watching ESPN College Football presented by Ram Trucks. It is the Big Ten on ESPN. And the wacky and wild of the Big Ten continues on after an awesome first week in the league. This first game of week 2 has been a dandy. Taulia Tagovailoa trailing by 7, but a massive half for him. And we thank you for rejoining us after your halftime festivities led by Matt Berry. Nice guy. Minnesota will get the ball on a halftime, and Petrino on the approach. Cam Wiley back to receive for the Golden Gophers. And from the end zone, he will put it on the deck and run it out. So Wiley to about the 13-yard line. And as we join you from our homes, Jason Benetti, Andre Ware along with you, it is time for our progressive game flow. And Andre, it's a lot of touchdowns in a very small span.
Yeah, it was just a back and forth slugfest for a while. Talia Tagovailoa, 13 of 17, 210, but he made plays on the ground as well. He picked up another 68 there, but it quickly turned into the Muhammad Ibrahim show. 4 touchdown runs to go along with 131 yards on the ground. He just found the end zone countless times in the first half of the ball game to the tune that Tanner Morgan, Jason, has only thrown 5 passes in the ball game tonight.
They are run heavy, and they are right side run heavy, specifically as Mosley and Campbell got in there on the tackle just to gain a 2, but there's no reason to stop, right? 28 runs, 5 passes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't fix it if it's not broken. And right now, your offensive line, they're having the time of their life right now. This is what big guys are made for. Hey, we want to push people off the ball, bite down on the chin strap, on the mouthpiece, and tighten up the chin strap and come at you. And they've been able to do it for a half of football so far.
Morgan second down, waits for Ottman Bell and throws a dagger to the 50-yard line. Ottman Bell's second big grab, this one for 33.
When you get caught up in the run, the play action lulls the linebackers up, pulls them closer to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have nice big windows like that one to throw into.
After a couple first downs, you never know when you're going to see the football again. If you're Maryland, as a flag comes in.
Offense number 64, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
It's on the center, Olsen to the sideline, and Quinn.
I don't want to die a slow death, the words of Mike Loxley, talking about his defense and their ability to stop the run. He said, Coach, how many you got to add to the box? 1, 2? He says, yeah, we're going to have to be a little more aggressive. I don't want to die a slow death against this Minnesota rush game.
But with that, Quinn, Andre, we just saw what happens when you do that, right?
Yeah, you got offensive linemen that want to get out of the gate, and Connor Olsen, is holding there. He's ready to get after somebody.
Pressure coming from Campbell, and they run it with Ibrahim. What's an offensive lineman's second favorite thing to do? Eat?
Yeah, probably eat. Sleep ranks in there somewhere, but run blocking is certainly it, because you get to be physical. This is why you lift all the weights in the offseason.
This is Axel Rushmeyer, who's down for Minnesota. We'll check on him when we come back in the opening drive of the second half. Offensive lineman Axel Rushmeyer, while we were away, going to the tent for Minnesota, and Andre will watch the play again.
Yeah, he just kind of gets rolled up on by his running back Ibrahim, and he gets bent backwards. Boy, just kind of trapped under a pile. That does not look good.
Junior from west of Minneapolis comes out, and so Minnesota will get even shorter handed on the offensive line. They'll go multiple tight ends, and Tanner Morgan for Bateman incomplete. It's 3rd and 14.
And this may be the stop that Maryland desperately needs defensively.
We'll check the flag and see if they do keep it at 3rd and 14.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 34, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, that hurts. That hurts in a bad, bad way. You get a team that's been dominating you on the ground to 3rd and 14 with an opportunity to get off the field and force a punt, and that happens. Unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
It's on Mokite, the sophomore, who they have high hopes for on the defensive line. But Minnesota with just one penalty all night, and Maryland with about 3/4 of a football field in penalties. And guess what? It's Ibrahim again, getting undercut by Campbell as this day started, 2nd and 9.
Where Axel Ruschmeyer went out of the game, that's where I'm going to put arguably my best defensive lineman, or bring some pressure over that spot and try to find a crease to get myself into the backfield. Guy comes in the game, he's ice cold. We can take advantage a little bit here of that situation.
It's a redshirt sophomore, Nathan Bowe, who's checked in on the offensive line. And Morgan will throw. Some pressure coming. Morgan to the sideline. Ottman Bell to the high point, and yes, he did. Oh, doctor.
Boy, the safeties on the back end. Richardson on a deep ball earlier in the game, and now Jordan Mosley. They take bad angles. You're back there for a reason. You got to make a play on the back end, disrupt the ball, get it out of there somehow, but you can't allow Altman Bell to come up with that catch.
As of a couple years ago, Tanner Morgan to Chris Ottman Bell was going to be happening in Kalamazoo. They were both going to Western Michigan to play for P.J. Fleck. And now they are together again on a long pass play. And Minnesota has gone 28-0 since the first quarter. How about this catch? Tanner, you like it? Yeah, you like it. Chris Ottman Bell has the last touchdown for Minnesota. How did it happen, Andre?
Yeah, it's actually a double move. Ottman Bell on the outside working against Jacorian Bennett, and the safety, Jordan Mosley, he's in position, but he gets himself out. The in, out, and then up. And then it's just high pointing the football. It's like from the safety position, it's like an outfielder misjudging a pop fly where he's going too deep and the ball's going to fall short. Ottman Bell does a nice job of spotting it, going up, making a play when he climbs the ladder.
Tanner Morgan, line one. Tanner Morgan, line one. And he is very happy that P.J. Fleck called him and said, I'm going to Minnesota, you want to come with. Same for Ottman Bell. And it's 35-21, the Golden Gophers, as Maryland has struggled to catch the ball on returns. This is Ellis, and he is driven back. But to finish the story on Tanner Morgan, here's a guy who, when his graduation party happened, they had cookies that had the W for Western Michigan on the cookies. And they decided that because he had just gotten the phone call from P.J. Fleck about going to Minnesota, they would just turn the cookies upside down to make an M instead. Perfect. Which is wonderful ingenuity by Tanner Morgan's family, and save them some money in baked goods, Quint.
Except the cookies were the wrong color. Weren't they black and blue instead of the brown and gold?
They weren't the right colors, certainly. But at least they got the letter right. They had the choice. You know how it is. Like, you write something in pen, and then you realize his Funk is off and running. Funk one more time with a big hit for Maryland inside the 35-yard line. It took Jordan Howden to track him down after 51.
Boy, he is really starting to come back. Had a knee injury that he's had to fight back from. And having a big game just when Maryland needed a shot in the arm, he provided it off that big run.
In the first half, Funk had his first receiving touchdown in 1,126 days. Here is Funk, and a hit by Otomewo, the defensive end.
I asked Scotty Montgomery about Jake Funk and said he just kind of does everything well. You know, we want to get him about 20-plus touches, but he always does what's needed. Solid in pass protection, solid receiver out of the backfield, and we see the type of night that he's having on the ground.
Guy had 52 touchdowns and 249 high school carries, and here's the Funk family. His mom was loving it here in the stadium in College Park. Only family and friends in the crowd, but the family's been important. His brother actually owns a physical therapy clinic, and a couple of years ago helped with the rehab from the ACL injury, Jake Funk.
Need to pick up this first down right here.
Was Jarrett in motion? They throw that way, and a first down for the freshman Rakim Jarrett.
It is all about keeping pace at this point in the game. You see how dominant Minnesota has been. When you get your hands on the football, you've got to pick up first downs, move the chains, and then ultimately find your way into the end zone.
Tagovailoa with pressure coming in his face. This is to the outside, and Dante Demas diving for the goal line. Let's see. He is out of bounds at the 1.
You take a look at this one. He got close to the sideline, and that was against a blitz look that was picked up perfectly.
Yeah, he's out of bounds for sure.
Official. No doubt about it.
Penny Boone trying to duck in. Did he crawl over the line before he was down? Now let's see, did he lose the football as well? He did. So who's got it at the bottom of the pile? Minnesota says it's go for football. Boone was close to the goal line as well. And as Tyler Nubin got the hit, the ball came out. And this is Minnesota football.
The ruling on the field is the ball was fumbled in the field of play. It went into the end zone where it was recovered by the defense.
All right, so Matt Austin, as we get some looks at this, there are a couple of issues at play. Our rules expert Matt Austin with us all night long. Couple of things at play here, right?
Yes. The runner's backside hit the ground. I couldn't tell if the ball was loose or if he was still firmly controlling it. It's blocked there by 72. I don't think it's a touchdown. It's either short or the call's going to stand.
And again, we need indisputable video evidence to overturn. And this is, Matt, one of those circumstances where it's so important what the call on the field was.
Yes.
Well, it looks like the arm's going into the air as he's trying to turn. So I don't know if he has control of the football. Is it making its way out? It certainly looks like his backside hits the ground and then the ball comes out, but you can't tell if he's losing control of it. Well, it comes off of a Minnesota Golden Gopher his leg. But this is definitely Minnesota's ball, and they're operating as such.
Big recovery by Justice Harris. And Minnesota goes with Ibrahim, the rare left-handed run tonight, and he's hit by Ayinde Ely.
I think that the ball came off of Micah Treadway, his leg, and that's what popped it out and led to the recovery. And boy, you feel for the young freshman running back. Minnesota right back to grinding things on the ground.
You see Minnesota scoring 28 points in a row. Maryland threads the needle down to the 1-yard line and can't get in. And Andre, the question all night long since the middle of the first quarter is, when will Maryland see the football again? As Ibrahim takes on the tackler, and that was Nick Cross to set up a 3rd down and short.
We're well into the 3rd quarter. Time of possession just slowly creeping away from Maryland. About 19 minutes now for Minnesota, or 20 minutes for Minnesota, just 16 for Maryland.
But a good chunk of the Maryland possession tonight came in that first quarter when they had the lead 21-7. Minnesota has played hide the football since then. Third down, they'll run it again and get the first down with Ibrahim, and a jagged cut gets him all the way across midfield on a great block from Bo, who just came into the game. It's a gain of 24.
Boy, what a job he is doing tonight. I mean, the cuts, seeing blocks, accelerating through contact, and then continuing to run after it. He is the real deal. We go for 140 against Michigan in the opening week. That kind of got, you know, his story out there, and then he has continued to build on it in tonight's game.
Yeah, he was the bronze medalist last year behind Rodney Smith and Shannon Brooks, but he is the lead dog at the top of the stand now, and his reserve, Trayson Potts, the understudy. He's got a whirling first down, Quinn.
Well, he's become a great change-up to Ibrahim, who on that last run, Andre, I just love the patience when he's running that outside zone, the way he just paused and waited for it to develop. The big elephants in front doing their footwork and getting bodies moving, creating seams and creases. As you see now that Potts in the game, and what he offers, choppy quickness, great change of direction, and great, wonderful energy when Mo does get tired.
That is just a massive offensive line as Potts will not get it here. It's a throw for Ottman Bell, and Minnesota was so good with Tyler Johnson on the short stuff and the slants last year. This time, Ottman Bell.
Boy, this running game has just got Maryland on its heels right now, because every time they show it inside, whether it's Potts or Ibrahim, the linebackers are running up into the mesh of the line of scrimmage, and it's just leaving some big throwing lanes for Tanner Morgan.
Well, I go back to what Mike Loxley told Quint at halftime. We got to be aggressive in our defensive calls, and Minnesota's preying on that at this point. Ibrahim back in. Ibrahim on the run behind noted Homewood Flossmoor Viking John Michael Schmitz, the center, and it's second down.
And last week in the passing game, it was Rashad Bateman, 9 catches for 101 yards, and tonight it's been Chris Ottman Bell who's leading the way in the passing game, or in the receiving game. 4 catches, 112 yards, and counting.
Off the gain of 4, 2nd and 6, and again, I mean, the sands fall quickly from the hourglass for Minnesota, playing keep away from Maryland. Another run. Ibrahim with the shoulder forward into cross once again. It's third down and about 2.
Boy, and they make it, they don't complicate it, do they? Run, block, tackle, don't turn it over, force turnovers. That's kind of been their way under P.J. Fleck, and it's no different tonight. We knew we'd get a big dose of the running game, and Minnesota quickly establishing the line of scrimmage and establishing the run very, very early in this game.
Yeah, that's the only thing they're doing quickly right now, much to Maryland's dismay. 3rd and 3. Ibrahim keeps his feet, drives the legs, and he is going to be about a yard short. It's 4th down and 1. They hit for Okuwanu, and you're going for this, right? If you're P.J. Fleck, I mean, you don't have a kicker, really.
There's no doubt. Your kicking game is in disarray. You got a guy that's averaging, just under 6 yards a carry. No way you're going to take the ball out of his hand.
And that's nothing against Brock Walker. He's been dealing with a hernia surgery, so he's actually had a restriction on how long he can kick from. So there's a lot in play here. Seth Green, the Wildcat quarterback, is in on a 4th down and 1, and we're going to get a whistle before the snap with the play clock ticking down
Timeout
to 0.
Minnesota.
Minnesota calls the timeout. 4th and 1 on the other side for PJ Fleck.
Very good matchup on Halloween night, as the Buckeyes creep into Happy Valley under a full moon. Get ready for chills on Saturday night football.
Somehow Justin Fields has gotten better after contact is the word from the Penn State defense as they watch tape this year. And we'll see that on primetime tomorrow. Right here, 4th down and 1 for Minnesota, and they are going for it. Seth Green, the Wildcat quarterback, is in. They run motion and have all night, and they'll go directly to Ibrahim, who's searching for a school record 5th rushing touchdown on this drive.
Well, they had him kind of offset, and the ball snapped right to him, gives him a tremendous downhill advantage as he approached the line of scrimmage. And tell you what, Seth Green got a nice block in there to help escort Ibrahim to the 1st down mark.
Tanner Morgan back in. 1st down and goal, play clock again, sapped down to 3. Ibrahim shimmying outside, and he is stuck by Still, the freshman defensive back. 2nd and goal.
A nice tackle in the open field by Raheem Still, because otherwise Ibrahim's going to have his 5th touchdown run of the night.
Oh, you're taking him out. The record book's safe for now. Grayson Potts is in. Redshirt freshman tailback. Morgan off the boot. Morgan goes to the 2nd level into traffic for Bateman, and Still was there. It's 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, continuing to compete is Still. Looking for Bateman, but the true freshman right in the correct spot in trail technique, playing man-to-man against one of the best in college football, and Rashad Bateman. Have to find a way to get this running game going again. Maybe go right here to Potts.
Pressure coming. Morgan feels it, and to the end zone it goes, and incomplete. He wanted span forward with his safety Nick Cross there, and now on 4th and goal, you'd imagine this is close enough for the field goal for Minnesota.
You think, but we're talking to PJ Fleck this week. He didn't seem too confident in his kicking game. So he said, don't be surprised if we do some unorthodox things when it comes to our kicking game this week.
Again, Brock Walker is a talented kicker, but he has dealt with a hernia surgery. So the distance has been the issue for him as he lines up a 25-yarder. And this is good. It is a 3-score lead for Minnesota. 38-21, the Gophers. Some big games in the Big Ten. And again, Wisconsin is the big story this weekend. Graham Mertz testing positive for COVID-19. They won't play Nebraska, but Wisconsin-Michigan in a couple of weeks is one to highlight. What else stands out to you, Andre?
That one on December 12th, always. Michigan and the defense that they bring to the party this year. Ohio State. Who knows what happens between now and then, but that's one that you can always keep your eyes on.
Don Brown is one of the best coordinators in football, running that Michigan defense. And you'll see on game day tomorrow, they've got a wonderful feature planned on Kwity Paye, one of the stars of that defense for Michigan, and his journey from Guinea and war-torn West Africa. He was born in a refugee camp and eventually becomes one of the best players defensively for Michigan, let alone in the Big Ten. So that's coming up on College Game Day tomorrow. At least we think it still is. Producer of Game Day, Jim Galliero, tweeted that his rundown got blown up a couple of hours ago with the news about Trevor Lawrence. So I don't know what Game Day looks like tomorrow, but I was told there's a wonderful story about Kwity Paye and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers as well, as Minnesota just put together a 7-minute drive to make it 38-21, and Maryland will get it from the 25-yard line. And for those just tuning in, this is the news on Trevor Lawrence, who has tested positive for COVID-19. And he's going to make a huge difference, obviously, and best to Trevor Lawrence. Number one, his health is primary here. But Clemson in the ACC has been a buzzsaw. The question is, how much drop-off will there be? They still have Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and I think that will be the major feature. He will be the feature in tomorrow's ball game with Trevor Lawrence out. They're not going to ask young man stepping in to do a whole lot without Trevor Lawrence in the lineup. So I look for Etienne to have the ball often and a lot in that one.
Funk on the run. By the way, one of the things I missed about college football when it was away was the lack of landline phones that we see on the sideline. Tanner Morgan on the landline phone as Coney Durr is down for the Gophers, a key part of that secondary.
He came up big time in run support, and looks like he just kind of got leg whipped. One of his own teammates.
Coney Durr was the freshman linebacker. Coney Durr was an all Big Ten honorable mention performer last year as PJ Fleck goes out to greet him. That secondary, Andre, I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr. Was playing at such a high level. He's been outstanding for the Bucks. That was part of the 9-0 start, is how deep they were in that secondary last year.
Chris Williamson, along with Antoine Winfield.
Second down and 5. This is Funk on the run. Third down, Quint.
Yeah, and to add on those points about PJ talking about his defense at halftime, he mentioned to me their youth at all levels, whether it be the front, the linebackers, or in the secondary. He thought in the first half one of the things that really upset him most was the tackling, but then the pass rushing from his DNs. He said they were either over pursuing or rushing too shallow, allowing the quarterback to peel out or step up. So you got to rush the passer, the DNs do, to the level of the quarterback.
Tagovailoa out of the pocket. He's got a first down and then some for Jarrett, hopping out of bounds. And a first down for Maryland with under a minute to go in the third.
Yeah, that's a combination we're going to hear from a lot. Raheem Jarrett and Taulia Tagovailoa. They have found each other. He has found it, number 5, several times in this game, and he has got big-time playmaking ability.
Andre, Minnesota was down in this game 21-7. It's 31 unanswered from the Golden Gophers, who had their first 10-win season since 1905 last year, as this is over the middle for Cobbs, who is run down by Howden. It's a gain of about 8 or so.
They just did not panic. Came right back, stuck to the game plan, believed in what they put together for this one, and just found their way back in the game.
PJ Fleck ready to run. Minnesota as well. And down the stretch they come. A big news by text message, by the way, from Reese Davis. The Kwity Paye feature is still in the rundown for game day. And maybe Ottman Bell highlights as well, 38-21. Objects in motion stay in motion. PJ Fleck is the perfect example of that. You saw him running. We asked him what he has taken up as a hobby, in terms of the height of the pandemic. He said cycling, and you saw him on his bike there. And what does that have anything to do with his running? As a 2nd down and 1 carry gets them to the line to gain. PJ Fleck said, I took up cycling and I like to do it like 25 miles. And the first thing I said was like, Peloton? Like, what are we talking about? He said, I cannot do the stationary bike. I cannot do the treadmill because I have to be moving. I cannot stand still, which is extremely on brand for the very kinetic head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And he said, look, I went the whole way because I've got the helmet, I've got the jersey. He says I look like one of those Tour de France teams when he's cycling. But it's very much PJ Fleck in the core of his personality to do that. As Tagovailoa ends up out of bounds at the 37. The guy's always doing something, Andre.
Can't keep himself in one spot. You see just a ball of nervous energy as he's up and down the sideline. He's got to run between quarters, just constantly pacing, coaching all the time as guys come on and go on the field and bring themselves off. I love the energy, though. You gotta love the energy.
I mean, you go to one of his practices and it's the same deal. He's always bopping up and down. As this is a run for Funk, who once again has a first down. He's been awesome tonight. Quint?
You mentioned those walkthroughs, PJ Fleck, the energy, and what we noticed in the Zoom call the other day, Jason, he had his Christmas tree up in the background. You can't have a Christmas tree up in October. It's October. It's not even Halloween yet, let alone Thanksgiving.
Already thinking ahead. Always thinking ahead.
He's quick with the hand on the calendar page, Quint. I mean, look, he was ready for the 4th quarter before the 3rd was over tonight. It's not shocking. Tagovailoa on first down, a strike for a touchdown to Dante Demas Jr.
Well, he has played a solid game tonight at quarterback. Demas has really emerged in this one tonight as well. But look at the location of that ball. I mean, you're talking about in a very small window with a couple of hands on a couple of different levels reaching to just try to knock it out of the air.
So Demas with the big play, Dante Demas Jr. to get Maryland to break that 31 straight for Minnesota. And on the other side, we'll tell you about Dante Demas Jr. and everything he has been through, losing his hero just a couple years ago. That after this.
All right.
This is a young man who lost his dad in April of 2018, and last year's game against Minnesota was played on his dad's birthday. And it hurt him quite a bit, where 2 of his drops were converted into Minnesota interceptions. His dad was his hero. He actually wears a necklace with his dad's ashes, and I think he was posing for that picture from his mom, Aisha, who's here, as Dante is from Washington, D.C.
Truly a massive loss in his life. Dad was the guy who he watched football with. Dad was a Maryland fan. He had Maryland gear well before Dante Demas Jr. committed to Maryland, and was so proud of his son for being able to play football at such a high level and staying home and to go through everything he's gone through and still be the player he is and the guy he is. And Mike Loxley raves about the kid. It's an awesome thing.
It takes a special individual to bounce back, and he's got everything in front of him. Talented player, but a great young man.
He's got 6 catches on 6 targets tonight, as Ibrahim on the run on first down sets up second down. I was talking about the 10-win season for the Gophers last year. Was their second since 1905. In 2003, Glenn Mason and the Gophers won 10 games as well, but the last 10-win season they had before that was 1905, when Amos Alonzo Stagg was coaching the University of Chicago Maroons. Question that arises here, Andre, is when's Maryland going to see the football back? Can they stop this Minnesota run game?
Yeah, they need a stop. They've got to commit to that first and force Tanner Morgan to beat them.
As Rogers makes the stop, it'll be third down.
There's another opportunity on third down to do exactly what you just asked. Get the ball back. A big third down here, a stop, and only 2 scores down. But you got to get off the field here. We saw Maryland in this position before, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty allowed a drive to continue. They gave them a first down on 3rd and 14. And then Minnesota ultimately scored.
Morgan, an emergency up to the line on a 3rd and 4. He just got it off. And it's a quick throw for Bateman, who's chopped down by Campbell.
We're going to see maybe a punt here for just the 2nd time in the game from Minnesota. Mike Loxley asked his defense to come up big and needed them to come up big. They read this thing out and were able to rally to the football, sniffed out the little tunnel screen, and now they're going to get the football back.
Here is the former concrete industry management major Matthew Stevenson, the Middle Tennessee State transfer, to punt. And he does get it away, and it's a fair catch at the 33 from Jones. 36-yard punt, no return, under 11 to go. Maryland trying to start to kick up dust on the comeback trail with Tua's younger brother after this.
College football is presented by Ram, built to serve.
Cole Fieldhouse, the former basketball haven at Maryland, is now the indoor practice facility. So the place where Sarunas Yasikavicius and Juan Dixon and Len Bias used to play basketball. And I know I did those in the wrong order there, but that's what it's become. One of the great places to watch college basketball, and any Maryland alum knows that. But Xfinity Center has been outstanding too, as Tagovailoa grabs the ball down 10. You see, he just hadn't had the ball a lot here in the second half. And he is ready for this drive on first down. He launches down the sideline and incomplete. The feet got tangled. Benjamin St. Just on the coverage against Demas Jr.
Well, just get tangled up on the sideline, and this is where you start to make a name for yourself. And kind of peer out of the shadow of your brother if you're able to drive your team down in this situation and make this a one-score game with a bunch of time on the clock. Try to get it all in one play there, but plenty of time left in this ball game.
Well, he wanted a flag for sure as Funk tries the left side, and it'll be third down and about 5 coming up.
Funk has had a nice game, hasn't he? Really done some nice things in the running game. Oh, he was probably chopping to get back in the game in that goal line situation where Penny Boone fumbled it into the end zone.
When you think about the fumble from the 1-yard line and an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, both led to Minnesota scores and flips of the game.
Now, don't be surprised if Talia doesn't keep it himself here.
They get up the field with Boye Mafe. He spins out of it. Tagovailoa lets it rip, and he's got a first down across midfield to Rakim Jarrett.
Boy, that's why it's so difficult to defend a guy that can move around and buy himself some time. We saw him on a long touchdown run, so we know he's an excellent runner, but his eyes are staying down the field. They blitzed, they being Minnesota in that situation, and he just shrugged it off like it was nothing.
He will throw, and he's got Demas. He spins across the 40, and it'll be second down and 1. Dante Demas Jr. with his 7th catch on 8 targets.
there's ever a time to dial one up deep, this is it. 2nd and 1, a free play for the most part here for Taulia.
They'll go screen, and it's a first down for Cobbs.
A little bubble screen out on the edge, challenging the edges of the defense just to pick up the first down, and that shows you some arm strength and the accuracy. It's on a rope out in front of the receiver.
10-yard penalty. Repeat second
down. They got a
down.
flag against the freshman tight end Malik Jackson.
And it's all for naught and coming back. And now it's a tough situation here for Maryland. Instead of it being the 2nd and 1 or a first down, you see just enough of the jersey to draw the attention of the officials. And now it's 2nd and 11, where you got to go back to work.
Well, if the shoulder pad's flipping in the wind through the breeze, somebody's going to throw a flag. Timeout Maryland. So we'll see if that penalty derails the Terps. It's a 10-point game under 9 to go on a Friday night.
Certainly made his mark in this game, both running and throwing. On the ground tonight, he has been spectacular, and he's been pinpoint accurate through the air.
Our player spotlight brought to you by State Farm. It is Taulia Tagovailoa, who had his first touchdowns of his career tonight. 301 yards, 78 on the ground. And this is a young man who played center for his brother from 4th grade to 6th grade. Tua gets the start for the Dolphins on Sunday. His brother trying to make a massive comeback go for the Terps in the old Line State. This one to the sideline, and a great shifting grab by Darryl Jones.
And another excellent throw. He read the coverage last week. These were sailing on him tonight. They're finding the hands of receivers on the back end. That's an excellent throw over the linebackers and second-level players, and before it gets to the safeties on the back end.
For Jones, a standout high school basketball player, his 3rd grab. This is funked to the short side, and he's ushered out of bounds across the 20 by Tyler Nubin.
And they've been able to work the perimeter. That last throw along the sideline where it gave him a first down and stopped the clock briefly. There again, Funk working the sidelines. Just nice, calm demeanor. That's what you like about Taulia. Nothing really, bugs him. He just kind of shrugs it off, whether it's a touchdown or, a mistake that he makes. Just a nice, even-keeled player that you want at that position.
Tagovailoa to the end zone, and this is incomplete for Jones with Coney Durr on the coverage. And it's 3rd down. What I liked about talking to him, Andre, is he wanted to ask you questions before we talked to him.
Yeah, I got a big kick out of that myself. I don't get that a lot, and he's picking my brain and how to bounce back and things of that sort. And I was flattered by it, to be quite honest.
Well, you can tell he's a sponge. I mean, he is very young, and he is very much learning.
Well, the coaching staff called him a gym rat, and he went back to work, really assessed his play last week, and his performance tonight has been fantastic.
Can't have a mistake here. They're in field goal range as he claps for the snap late in the play clock. And now field goal range might be a distant memory. Boye Mafe, the best pass rusher for Minnesota, got in there.
Yeah, the one time he doesn't really see pre-snap read. They're going to bring the blitz, and it's late. And the offensive line loses track. Jalen Duncan, the left tackle, one of the captains this week, his man gets by him, and you see it there. Coach Loxley's telling him, look, you got to get rid of the football and save field position.
And they've added to the risk now. It's a 16-yard loss. So Petrino, instead of a gimme, has a lengthy affair from 51. And now we're going to get a timeout, Minnesota.
This is a full media
One
timeout.
left for P.J. Fleck. Maryland needs points in a hurry. fun the first weekend of its season, and this game has been a ride as well. Maryland was up 14, now they're down 10, and it's a 51-yard field goal attempt for Joseph Petrino. It would be his career long by 11, and talking to Quint during the break, Petrino made from 53 during warmups, and this one comes on a windless night in College Park with 7:12 to go to make it a one-score game after a sack that lost 16 yards. Petrino on the way. It is good.
Well, never a doubt. He got up in a hurry and certainly had plenty of distance. Excellent hold. And there was no doubt.
This is a good look at the make. A really good look at the make. Like almost got hit in the head on the make. Good look.
Maybe off the lens. Well, that's
7-point game.
Not a bad job of besting your career best by 10 yards. 11 yards, actually.
Look, Joseph Petrino was on SportsCenter as a SportsCenter top 10 kid in high school in Richmond Hill, Georgia. Watch this look at our cameraman. Yep. Look out. Duck.
Staying in there, baby, to get that shot for us. Good job.
That's dedication. That's hardcore dedication to the craft. Nicely done. Look, Petrino was on SportsCenter a couple years ago. He made 50-yard field goals in high school with both his right and his left foot. So he's been SportsCenter top 10 for the distance he creates. And this return will get Minnesota across the 20-yard line.
We got plenty of time here, partner.
Oh, absolutely we do. And plenty of time for a wonderful segue as well. We were just talking about SC Top 10, and so it's a SportsCenter promo for you. That's producing Brian Boyle. Following our game, it's John Buccigross and John Anderson. Saturday expectations from Chris Fowler. One-on-one with Tom Brady and Randy Moss coming up on Sunday NFL Countdown, I should say, and then top 10 plays in October. Van Pelt. I get to yell his last name. He always yells my last name. So Van Pelt, that's for you. Stanford Steve. and Queen Elizabeth as well, by the way, who saw her first ever college football game in College Park. So SVP and the Queen together.
Well, congratulations to Stanford Steve and the Bear with their new podcast.
Oh yeah, you want numbers, you want -8 and a hook, they got you. How about that pairing right there? See, that's the time when you want kiss cam in the stadium. Second down and 5 for Minnesota in a 7-point game. You guessed it, it's a run and it's a loss on the play. Ami Finau with a nice effort, and Ibrahim, as we told you, does not lose yardage much on runs.
Yeah, John Hope told us he's big and he's hard to move in the middle of that defense. And junior college transfer out of Trinity or Independence Community College in Kansas. Hey, what? There, excellent penetration. Maryland getting the stop they needed on second down. Now they got to finish this thing. As we mentioned, plenty of time. They've got to get themselves off the field here.
2 timeouts for Maryland. Game 2 of the season for both schools. Tanner Morgan to throw. Morgan ducking out of the pocket. Morgan slips and in the face of Campbell goes down.
Smart, tough, reliable. The quarterback of their defense, and Chase Campbell able to shake free. And Tanner Morgan's trying to make it miss, but he's in the right place again at the right time. And Maryland defensively coming up big and going to get the football back one more time.
We were talking to Chance Campbell during the week, and he's a very thoughtful kid. He loves the guys that are playing around him, but he's a former lacrosse player who's an outstanding athlete, and he gets a major stop as Minnesota has to punt. And the ball at the 44-yard line for Tagovailoa. Oh, Halloween night in the Big Ten. It's Ohio State and Penn State. Justin Fields, Sean Clifford. The Buckeyes and the Nittany Lions, 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. You remember the last 4 meetings, huge moments. 2 one-point games, a 3-point game, and the last Penn State win 4 years ago, but it could turn the Big Ten completely on its side tomorrow night on ABC. We told you a little bit earlier, Penn State's defense thinks Justin Fields has gotten even better after contact, and so wrapping up so important tomorrow night. And Tagovailoa and Funk trying to wrap up a comeback across the 40. Funk to the 25-yard line, and Boye Mafe ran him down after 31 yards.
I'll say Jake Funk is back and operating at 100% from that ACL that we talked about earlier in the game. About a few years ago. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to really get confident on making the type of cuts that he made there on that run.
Tagovailoa, quick set, got the target. Cobbs against Howden, and it's second down coming up. Cobbs, by the way, his father, a former Penn State Nittany Lion, so there will be interest in that family in tomorrow night's game. 4 minutes to go. What do you like from Tagovailoa here?
Yeah, what I liked was him staring down the blitzer. You want to know if he's got the stuff to get it done. That last play, stared right down the blitz, knowing that he was going to get hit, and delivered a perfect strike.
Second down, Funk. He is in!
We got a ball game, partner. Hope you don't have anywhere to go, because we got a lot of time and a lot of football yet to be played. The Terps right back in this thing.
Andre, nobody's got anywhere to go right now as the Funk family gets to see this game in College Park. Jake Funk from Gaithersburg nearby, and they're an extra point away off a huge block from Spencer Anderson on the right side of that line, a young man they wanted more from today, and they got it there as the extra point is up and good, and we are tied with 3:38 to go.
Excellent job of getting out in front and opening up a hole. They decide to go to the edges of the defense, and it's big Johnny Jordan, the center, pulling around and leading Jake Funk to the end zone. But all he needed to cap an outstanding night was a trip to the end zone, and there it is. How about that average? Just under 11 yards a carry in this one.
Andre, this dude on 249 carries in high school had 52 touchdowns. It's like once out of every 5 touches he found his way into the end zone.
221 on 20 carries.
Maryland continues to bring on Jake Funk, and 3:38 to go. That is the energy Mike Loxley wants on the sideline.
And now they've got to play some complimentary football. The defense has to step up once again for this Maryland football team.
Minnesota will have it from the 25, but Maryland has owned the fourth quarter, Andre.
Just through the air, pinpoint accuracy for Taulia Tagovailoa. The 51-yard field goal of Petrino certainly gave this team some life. They stopped Minnesota on defense, and then Jake Funk finds his way to the end zone for the first time tonight to knot this thing up at 38 apiece.
1 yard in the fourth quarter is not going to be enough. They're going to need some more. 3:38 to go, tied at 38, and Tanner Morgan, who's been through a 9-0 start to last year, he's seen a lot of defenses as Ibrahim gets driven back pushed aside after a gain of 2.
Remember earlier we were talking about just how much on the edges that Maryland gave up to Northwestern, where Minnesota was picking at that scab as well. They've kind of tightened that up. They try to go outside to the left. The defense is right side of the formation. They're able to shut it down for just a 2-yard gain.
Campbell coming. Morgan feels it, stepping up. Tanner Morgan's got Bateman across the 40-yard line at a first down.
But Campbell just ran right by Tanner Morgan. You got to figure out or pick where the launching point's going to be, and you can't go past it. Tanner Morgan does an excellent job of seeing it, stepping up in the pocket, and delivering a strike to Altman Bell, who has been something else in this game in terms of the passing game.
First down run. Ibrahim shakes by 1, and he's got second down coming up.
There's Ami Finau, who had basically had him around the waist and could not get him down. That's 6'2", 330, and he runs right out of his outstretched arms for a nice gain. A big 7-yard gain to be exact. Chance Campbell showing blitz once again.
And they will try to run it away from him. He gets the legs of Ibrahim, and it's third down and short.
Last time they were in a situation like this, they were able to trap Morgan behind the line of scrimmage. Chance Campbell taps him down. See if Maryland brings some pressure here to help out in both the passing game, and if they decide to give it to Ibrahim on the ground. Extra bodies. They're going to load up man-to-man, 2 corners, and bring everybody else here.
Press coverage as well. They will run it, and Maryland gets the stop. So now if you're Mike Locksley, you're probably going to use a timeout here, right?
Timeout.
Yeah,
it's coming here.
This is the second of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Remember the kicking situations for Minnesota, the punter. They get excellent penetration. Guys crashing down from the outside. Nick Cross from his safety spot. They were locked up literally. Just the 2 receivers, and everybody else was packed in the box and coming for Maryland.
What do you think of the call there on third down, Andre?
Well, he's trying to go to what has worked all night long, but when you don't have enough to block the bodies, just one extra guy comes through. Now, I like the call, but it's just not enough blockers, or you don't hit it fast enough to where you can get any push for Ibrahim. I think you got to punt it here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Come up short, and all of a sudden it's, you give Maryland a short field, and it's game time.
Stevenson to punt. High snap. He does handle it as a marker comes in, and Maryland will have it pending at the 20-yard line.
Saw an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a 3rd and 14. Convert for Minnesota, and I would imagine that you want the football if you're Mike Locksley, and you just decline this one and take the ball.
Illegal formation. Kicking team, 5 men in the backfield. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the dead ball spot. First down, Maryland.
So Maryland will have it around the 25-yard line on first down, and the Maryland Terrapins trailing 17 or more entering the 4th quarter all time. 0-71 currently in this season, I should say. So this year, teams entering down 17 are 0-71.
Well, keep in mind, they just had a kicker hit from 51 yards. So they're looking to just get into field goal range. You don't want to bank on that. I can tell you as a quarterback, I'm not thinking that way. I don't want the kicker on the field. I want to lead the team down, punch us into the end zone. But if it ends up that way, you want to make sure you get him as close as you possibly can.
Tagovailoa, short set. Jarrett across the 30. One timeout remaining for Maryland. And the young man, Taulia Tagovailoa, trying to set his first legacy stone for Maryland. Tagovailoa down the seam, and he's got it. Brian Cobbs across the 40.
If there was any doubt in this young man's arm strength or his accuracy, it's on that play right there. Put all doubt to rest, because that one's thrown perfectly on the back shoulder of Brian Cobbs, away from the defender.
Tagovailoa, and a flag comes in. So this to Jarrett. Tyler Nubin on the stop, but this is going to be a huge call on the penalty.
Pass interference. Offense number 6. 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
All right, just a rub. Just a rub route by Jones. And he doesn't avoid enough.
Meaning too much contact, you're saying?
Yeah, too much contact. You've got to at least make it look like you're running a route. He comes right down inside and he's pushing his way. He knows that the ball is going outside. And so he's just pushing his man out of the way to clear a path. And you just can't do that. You've just got to run the route inside and live with it.
So all the way back to the 45. Tagovailoa under siege, and he has to whip it out of bounds with 30 seconds to go. Atomewo on the coverage, on the pressure, I should say.
That's when Jones has got to come back hard. He sees his quarterback in trouble. So to avoid an intentional grounding penalty, he's got to come racing back down the sideline to look like he's the intended receiver that Tagovailoa is trying to throw to. But he stops his route.
There's no foul for intentional grounding on the play. The quarterback was outside the pocket, and the pass crossed the line of scrimmage, extended. Second down.
Matt Austin, what do you think of this no grounding?
Well, all the quarterback has to do is get outside the tackle box and then be able to throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. And he's very, very close, and usually they give the quarterback the benefit of the doubt.
Very, very close, Matt. I thought Maryland lucky in that situation.
Second down, 25, 30 seconds. The issue with one timeout for Maryland. Tagovailoa down the sideline. Oh, a little bit too much. He wanted Demas Jr., and it's third down.
Just looking to get to field goal range. But he had what he wanted. A good outside release. That was a matchup that Joseph Rossi, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, told us to keep an eye on. 25 versus 7 on the offensive side. St. Juice against Demas.
You saw the name on the back of the jersey, Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother, on a third down and 25, late fourth quarter. He steps up and he's got some yardage to Funk to the 44. Now Maryland can use the timeout here if they want to, but they're going to let the clock roll on a fourth down and 15 and be okay with overtime, it seems. Wow, they've got a timeout and you have the ball in your hand. Why not call a timeout with 3 seconds left?
Yeah, you can call a timeout with 3 seconds left and then throw the Hail Mary.
At the very least. Wow. Overtime in the Big Ten to start your college football weekend. And he had the steering wheel on the last play of regulation. They had 25 seconds when the play started. This is third down, Tagovailoa to Funk. You see when he gets tackled, 18 seconds. You have all the choices as a head coach, and your choice was to go to the locker room, to go to overtime, Andre.
You can't take those timeouts with you, so I think you take it with about 3 seconds left. You run a play, but he's also, I guess, protecting on something bad happening. The ball tipped and an interception, but I still think that the call there was to take it down and one shot to the end zone.
Here's overtime. If you haven't experienced it in a while, the coin toss for offense or defense, typically you'll want to see what the other offense is going to do. One possession from the 25-yard line per overtime for the first 4, then the 2-point conversion start, third overtime, alternating 2s in the 5th overtime, and mandatory 2-minute rest periods after the 2nd and 4th overtimes. We can tell you that we have over 1,000 yards in the game, 1,092, and 76 points. So frankly, let's get weird here in overtime and see exactly how many overtimes we can go in a huge game in the Big Ten early on.
Well, we put up a lot of points, and 76 points to be exact, over 1,000 yards of combined offense between these two teams.
Extra periods. Each team will be given the opportunity to possess the ball starting at its opponent's 25-yard line. Starting with the 3rd overtime period, if you score a touchdown, you must go for 2. Starting with the 5th overtime period, we'll have a 2-point shootout from the 3-yard line. For each period, each team gets 1 timeout, and they do not carry over to the next period. For the coin toss, the winner of the toss gets to choose offense, defense, or choose the end of the field. The other team will have the remaining selection. We have the same coin, same silver dollar. Lady Liberty is the head. The eagle is tails. Minnesota, it's your choice. Do you want heads or tails? He called tails. We'll let it hit the ground. And it is tails. Minnesota won the toss. Defense. They chose to start on defense. Maryland, which end do you want to play? We're going to play at that end. It'll be Minnesota's ball, Maryland's ball. 1st and 10 at the 25 at that end of the field. Good luck, gentlemen.
So it'll be Maryland football, as you heard. Taulia Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother. He's ready to watch his big bro make his NFL starting debut on Sunday. He's got the jersey in his home, but guaranteed Tua's watching this. They are very close. They talk every day about things other than football, but they're going to talk about this comeback for Maryland, whether or not Taulia finishes the deal. What have you liked from him tonight, Andre Ware?
Yeah, I liked everything in terms of his game, both running and throwing. And just fans listening or watching, maybe you follow the NFL game, it's different. In college overtime, you want to play defense first so you know what you have to do. Maryland goes down, they have to settle for a field goal. Now Minnesota knows they need 7 points to close the game out.
Quick throw. Jayshon Jones carving across the 15. He wanted to score, Andre.
Well, what an excellent block out in the open field for Jayshon Jones. It's the left tackle, Jalen Duncan, coming out from his offensive line spot to kick out on the corner and almost got Jones into the end zone. Big lineman in open space playing some good football.
Funk trying to double back, and he's stopped by Sori Marin. 2nd down and long for Maryland.
Well, that's what you like about Jake Funk. He knows when, okay, the play's coming to an end. Let me just take what's there and live with it. Not trying to do too much to put the ball on the ground or have it knocked out of his hands or to get trapped in the backfield for a loss. Just take what's there and let's go back on 2nd down.
They've brought in Isaiah Jacobs along with Funk on 2nd down and 9. Tagovailoa Loads it up and too much. Justice Harris on the coverage of Funk. It's 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, I think he knew. Dalia knew exactly that he was running out of time, but you look down at the bottom of the screen where you've got a back leaking out. That may have been the better choice. You got to see the entire thing. He had plenty of time there.
Play clock down to 4. Tagovailoa on 3rd and 9. Had time to throw for the end zone and batted away. Flag down. Terrell Smith on the coverage, and will check the marker.
The interference on
Pass
Smith
interference.
it's going to give.
Defense number 4. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal.
And give Maryland a fresh set of downs, and sometimes you just want guys to make a play for you. Excellent release by Jayshon Jones, and you see that he's interfered with trying to make the play there, but oh, what a nice release off the line of scrimmage to give your quarterback some room in which to throw it.
Tagovailoa. Otomewo around the corner, couldn't get to him. Tagovailoa with the stretch for the touchdown.
Just the kind of game that he needed after last week's performance against Northwestern. And he has stepped up and led his team in a major way. I don't think there's any doubt that that's a touchdown. Matt, what are your eyes telling you on your end?
No, I agree. That is a touchdown. He stretched the ball out. The ball touched the pylon. That's all you need to do. 6 points.
Extra point is through, and Maryland, which had a 3rd down and 9 in overtime, got a pass interference call, a rare penalty against Minnesota, and here's a look.
Yeah, underrated runner. He's showing that tonight. We know just how deadly he is in the passing game. You just don't throw for 14,000 yards in a high school career by accident. And you know, last week is what it was, but he certainly put that in the rearview mirror and has stepped up in a big way tonight.
So look, we've mentioned he's Tua's brother. He was Tua's center from 4th grade to 6th grade. When they play family beach volleyball, Talia is the setter. He's not even the guy to drive home the point. But here tonight, he's done everything he can to be the hero for Maryland. And can the defense get the stop? Tanner Morgan on the throw, got Bateman a 1st down for Minnesota.
Who's been relatively quiet in this one tonight. But when you need him the most, Bateman's starting to get heated up. Later in the game, all of a sudden they start looking his way because of the game that Chris Ottman-Bell has had. And all of a sudden there's room for Rashad Bateman.
Agent Zero, he's called with the number change. Ibrahim across the 10, 2nd down coming up as Mosley gets the stop.
And just kind of going back and putting a bow on why Minnesota chose to play defense first. Now they know it's 4-down territory every single possession.
For an injury.
Every series of downs, because now you've got to get yourself in the end zone for this game to continue on.
Injured player is Lautez Rogers, the defensive lineman. They're playing without Joseph Bolatapelli tonight as well. So a thin defensive line for Maryland.
And that's where I would be running the football right now if I'm Mike Sanford. Guy goes out, replacement comes in. I'm going right at that spot.
After a look to the sideline, Morgan shouts out signals. Tanner Morgan, short drop and release to the end zone, and it's incomplete for Bateman with still the freshman on the coverage.
Yeah, with all these bodies packed inside, they decide to go to the one-on-one situation. True freshman against an all-world receiver in Bateman, and that one thrown just a little bit outside.
But you could argue that Still might have had a grab of the jersey of Bateman, but no flag came in.
Same formation, same look defensively. We're going to get the same result. It's there. They bring Bateman inside here.
On third down, Tanner Morgan for Ottman Bell. It's incomplete. Deontay Banks had the coverage this time. There's a marker down.
It's going to be pass interference on Banks, which will give Minnesota a fresh set of downs.
Pass interference.
Got to turn that head around.
Defense number 33. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball be placed at the 2-yard line. First and goal.
Well, Matt Austin, our rules expert, he didn't turn for the ball.
Yeah, that's definitely pass interference. You have to turn your head and before you make any kind of contact. If you do, then the officials will let you play. If you don't turn your head, make contact, they're going to call it every time.
And it sets up a first down and goal. Seth Green, the Wildcat quarterback for Minnesota. And it is Green behind Ibrahim for the touchdown, and now the extra point necessary to tie the ball game in the first overtime.
Is sure that there are all kind of nerves in the stomach of PJ Fleck right now because of this kicking situation. You mentioned it with the kicker here, Brock Walker.
To tie for Minnesota. Walker, it is no good. Maryland wins. Outrageous.
Just a straight push. The snap was down, snap was there, the ball was down, and he just pushed it right.
Tell you what, the Big Ten is making up for some missed weeks with some high drama. The Michael Penix Jr. touchdown for Indiana late last week. This missed extra point, and PJ Fleck, short specialists, watches Maryland get its first Big Ten win in its last 9 tries, and the celebration is on in College Park. Wow. This season, 17 plus down going into the fourth quarter, 0 for 71. That is no longer a number that counts. Maryland does the unthinkable in the fourth quarter, and the weekend starts beautifully for the Tagovailoa family and Mike Locksley, who has needed it so badly for his Maryland team, Andre.
Yeah, snapping an 8-game conference losing streak, and I thought Talia Tagovailoa played the game of his life. They needed him at the right time, and boy, did he step up and deliver in a major way tonight for the Terps.
college football is like this tomorrow. Sit on the couch, don't move. 45-44 your final score. For Quint and Andre, I'm Jason. Sports Center, John Buchagross, John Anderson next.